Hey there, this is Tom Buford, and welcome to the Attorney Success Podcast, the show where we interview, get to know, and learn from some of the top attorneys in the United States. I'm excited to introduce this week's guest, Adam Rossen from RossenLawFirm.com. Adam is an award-winning Fort Lauderdale attorney with more than 10 years of experience in criminal and DUI defense. A former state prosecutor, Adam is a skilled lawyer with a multidimensional approach to get his clients the best possible results. He believes that attorneys are called counselors for a reason, because their impact should be felt beyond the law and the courtroom. So thanks for being here, Adam.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Tom. I'm always excited to talk, about law, about marketing, and what we can do to continue to help people. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. So what made you decide to pursue a career in law? Is it something that happened in your life, or just it just hit you one day?
I think it was a gradual thing that happened. As a kid, I was really good at arguing, like a lot of lawyers are when they're young, and people say, "Oh, you should be a lawyer. You're opinionated and you're good at debating." And I come from a family, or my family. My father's a dentist, and I had actually wanted to be. Part of me wanted to be a doctor, part of me wanted to be a lawyer, and I kept going back and forth. And the final straw that pushed it over to the legal side was my freshman year of college at University of Florida. I had a chemistry class where I was taught by a TA who didn't speak English. There was 600 people in the class, and I was just like, you know what, I'm done. Let me actually do what I'm going to enjoy doing. And then I switched majors, and the rest is history.
Very good. Any regrets since then?
No, not
right.
As far as the decision, no, not at all. I love what I do. We impact people's lives every single day for the better. So I absolutely love what I do.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, someone has to do it at 100%. That's fantastic. Right. So tell me a little bit more about your practice. Specifically, what are the areas that you really focus on, where you're located? I know you're in Fort Lauderdale. Are there some specific areas?
Right. So I'm a former prosecutor. We focus on criminal and DUI defense, all aspects of criminal defense work. We have offices in Fort Lauderdale and Sunrise, both in Broward County, but we handle cases from Miami through Palm Beach, a good amount in Fort Lauderdale and Palm Beach County. And this is what we do.
Yeah, very cool. So when it comes to law, I know it can be very intimidating, not just for you trying to keep up with the law, but people that run into issues where they're thinking they need an attorney. I understand a lot of people, maybe they don't have the finances, they want to do it on their own, but what are some of the biggest misconceptions that you see in the marketplace that you'd like to clear up?
Well, first of all, I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that lawyers only care about money, and we're not going to give a good customer service experience. And I think people have that similar opinion about doctors,
Right.
in a way. And I know with our firm, it's completely different. We have a client-centered focus. We're always striving to get better, of course.
Right.
But to me, that's really important. One of our sayings is we do our absolute best to give the Ritz-Carlton style experience to our clients, just from start to finish and even beyond.
Yeah.
And just be, relatable, approachable, and really build that level of trust from day one. Because when you go to law school and you become a lawyer, it's ingrained in you that we are a service-based profession, that we are here to serve and to help others. But most people who are not lawyers don't view us that way. People have a negative view of lawyers, or think that, we're out to manipulate and game the system and cause, strife and fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And, while, of course, when we're litigating, those things happen, but most people don't really understand that being a lawyer is a noble profession. And when done, the right way, we do anything and everything that we can to help our people, our clients.
So how much of that do you think might come from media, or even from movies? I think most of the people get their perception of law based on movies, or someone is being mistreated in media or something like that. How much do you have to kind of to fight that?
Right, a lot, definitely a lot. And that's what we do with our marketing is trying to position ourselves, as being the antithesis of that,
right.
In a positive light. And with criminal defense, most people don't, especially us, right, in the legal profession, and and people outside the legal profession think, oh, how can you represent these people, right? Well, most people don't understand. who our clients really are. And our clients could be anybody,
Right.
anybody in any situation. And our motto, our kind of our saying is, we help good people when bad things happen to them. And I truly believe, we do an excellent job of that.
Yeah. And so how much do you run into as well where, I know some people might be up on a charge or something, and there's, that there's evidence that you get them off, they haven't committed this crime, but it takes the resource, and maybe the resources that they don't have, they can't invest enough into it. How often do you run into that?
Right. So we see that a good amount. As far as firsthand with us, not so much, which is good. For the people that we meet with that don't have the financial resources or the friends or family, there is public defenders' offices and
right.
attorneys that are contracted with the government to handle those cases, which is great, because it fills a tremendous need. For us, one of my core beliefs is, if somebody comes to us and says, look, I want you guys, you folks, to be my lawyers, to be my law firm, I want you to fight and defend, I just need a little help. We'll help them however we can, as long as it's reasonable, with payment plans. And that's why we're very flexible with payment methods that we take. We take credit cards, we do some creative things for our clients. So that's one thing that's always one of our core beliefs, is if somebody wants us to help them and they're willing to put in and make it work, right, we'll figure out a way. We'll get to yes.
Yeah, that's great. So I guess tying to that, tell us about your ideal case and client. Who is this?
So for us, our ideal client, and keep in mind, I represented doctors, lawyers, nurses, police officers, you name it. And we've represented construction workers, window washers, maintenance people. I mean, really, it runs the gamut,
right?
With professions and people who we've helped. But the main common theme is, it's somebody who's usually a first or second time offender. Somebody who is scared and nervous and wants not only excellent, skilled lawyers to fight for them, but they want somebody who's going to genuinely take an interest in them as a human being and not just as a file or a case, and somebody who's going to make the experience easier and less stressful. We deal with a lot of clients that have substance abuse issues. We deal with a lot of clients that have mental health issues, and we focus some of our, a good portion of our marketing into those areas. Because I believe it's an underserved market, right, in South Florida. So those are usually our ideal clients. The client who is a habitual offender, who's been to prison 5 times over 10 years, they're usually not, our ideal client.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that gets into what you mentioned in the beginning, or in your bio, is that you guys are counselors too. So, and that truly, right, to the definition of being a counselor, it's not just trying to, get someone through a court case, but get them moving forward in life.
Right. I always tell people, I said, once you're in our family, you're in our family. And if it means 5 years later, you're going to call us, and I tell people, you're going to call and you're going to say, hey, Adam, it's so-and-so, you probably don't remember me. And right, say, no, I'm going to remember you. And if we can answer questions for free, if we can, write a letter for free, make a phone call for free, like, you're in our family, we do all of those things for free.
Right.
And it could be years after the case.
So tell me about this. You've got testimonials on your site, and I went through, I think, most of the testimonials. It really impressed me that you're able to get people to really open up about this. These are personal situations where people have, it's really affected them, and it's hard for them to put it out. So they have to have an element of trust with you to even share that and be willing to put that out there. So what's your approach with getting those?
Well, from day one, it's like any relationship, right? You have to build that relationship, and and it's based on trust, mutual trust, and mutual respect, right? We don't use what we call the dirty C word of criminal. We don't use that in our firm. We don't believe in it. And I think people can, when they first come and meet with me or anybody in my firm, and there's 6 of us now, they know that we genuinely care. They know that we are more, than a lawyer, right? We're counselors. We're pseudo therapists at right, times, but they know that we're really here, to help them, and I think that helps a lot. And I've met a lot of attorneys that say, well, how can you get, so many reviews or testimonials when, in criminal law? right? In a field such as criminal law, how can you get so many? That's impossible. Nobody's going to want to put their stuff out there. And we've had a tremendous amount of success getting that, whether it's video testimonials, whether it's Google or Avvo reviews, where people actually, and some people just don't want to, and that's completely fine. Or they'll give something generic and not talk about, the case. But we have other ones that say, Adam, you tell me when and where you're shooting. I'll go on video. I'll tell the world how you saved my life or how you changed, how you made my life better. And it's just building that relationship from day one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the most important thing there is you've got to be making that impact in their lives. And then now they want to be a cheerleader and they want to get it out there and make sure that other people know and come to you. So that's great. Yeah, I've never seen, I have yet to see a site in criminal law that has that many testimonials, which is great.
Thank you. Appreciate
so very, very unusual. That's awesome. And it was fun to see them. So right on.
Yeah, well, and as trial lawyers, we're storytellers. Yeah. So we also, on our social media, we've done, and we have a bunch more that we need to do. Of course, there's always things we need to do.
Right. Never ending. Yeah.
But for a while, we did a thing called Winning Wednesday, where we would, and most of the time we will change the client's name, if they want us to and stuff like that, some of the identifying information, but not just say, put up a review or a testimonial, but for our Winning Wednesdays, we'll actually tell our client's story, and we'll tell about, what their fears were, what their anxieties were, what, and how we actually went step by step to attack and win their case, as opposed to just Adam and his team are amazing, and people, we got so much tremendous feedback from the Winning Wednesdays because we actually told the client's story and the client journey, and it was great.
Ah, that's great.
Yeah, and very humbling too for us.
I'm sure it is for you guys, and it also reminds you what you're doing and the impact you guys are making, which just keeps you going forward. And I mean, it's Absolutely. Not roses all the time. In marketing, I've been in marketing for how many years? I've owned a business since 99, and there's always marketing with that. But one of the most important things now is social proof, and so you're providing that for people. So, like you said, not just some generic, "Hey, we're great," but here's a case that we did, so other people see, "Wow, I'm in a similar situation." That really helps them see that you guys have the pathway to get them where they want to go.
There's nothing like taking, or being in an initial client meeting and a client brings up a review and says, well, my case is very similar to so-and-so. Do you remember that? And and I'm like, yeah, of course I remember it. And it's just, nice that and that might be a review that's buried, that's the 40th review on the list, but to find, for them to figure out that they took the time to scroll through and see somebody in a similar situation, it also gives them hope,
right?
Which is nice because a lot of our clients are at their rock bottom.
Yeah, and they probably, when you're at your rock bottom, you're thinking, hey, this is just me, this is my fault, I'm the one to blame. But when they see that there's other people that have gone through something as well, they realize, hey, there's other people out there that have struggled. That intellectually, but sometimes your emotions get the best of you, and you lose sight of that. So
yeah.
So that goes right into what would one of your most memorable cases be? What's something that really stands out?
I mean, we've had so many interesting and fun things. That's why, like, anytime I go, before coronavirus, go to a party. Right? I don't remember what a party's like, but you go to a party and you tell, people always want to hear about my stories and the cases that we've had. But one comes to mind. One of my very first trials as a defense attorney, it was a DUI case, and my client was on his way to a local bar, and he was dressed in a leather dog collar, chain mesh outfit without a shirt on, and he had assless leather chaps. So he was going out to a fun night at his kind of bar.
Yep.
And he got into a car accident, and the police officer had him get out. And the police officer, and I know this officer very well. He's now actually in the traffic homicide unit, but he's this very tall, just gruff. He was a former Marine,
right?
And so he's very tall, strong, gruff, and very boom, boom, boom.
Right.
And he had my client, on the DUI camera facing with his back for the whole video.
Oh, man.
So most of the video you see him just with his butt right there, wearing the the assless chaps and everything. and it's just funny because I first look at this, I meet with the client's talking to me, whatever. We start getting into the case, we review the video, and I'm just like, I don't know, how am I going to beat this? Look at this. And it was one of those things, the more work we did, the better the case got. And ultimately we went to trial. It was a 2-day trial, and it was a 5-minute not guilty, which basically means the jury, I'm in Florida for non-capital cases, non-death penalty cases, we have 6 jurors, not 12.
Okay.
So the 6 jurors went into the back and they elected a 4-person, which takes, I don't know, 3-4 minutes maybe.
Right.
And then they discussed for, I assume it was them looking at each other, go, yeah, this is BS. Okay,
Right.
we're all not guilty and leave. So it took 5 minutes, which
Wow.
means we killed it.
That has to be a record.
But that's always one that, and the prosecutor who I tried it against, it was her very first jury trial. And now she's still a prosecutor, and she's one of the supervisors. And every time we talk, we always bring that up.
I bet.
That fun trial that we had.
Well, even in loss for her, that's probably one of her most memorable, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So getting in sort of the marketing part of it, what challenges do you find in attracting the right kind of cases in your marketplace?
As far as challenges, we're in a very saturated market, South Florida.
Yeah.
So, criminal defense is always pretty saturated, I think, and especially when you're in a major metro area like South Florida. So really it's just getting our message, which I think is different than the norm. The norm is we're aggressive, we'll fight for you, 57 million years of experience.
Right.
And those are the type of messages that you can swap the picture, swap the name, and it could be any other firm.
Right.
And it's, our challenge is getting our message out in front of the generic, the lawyer stuff, and getting people to really see it and read it, maybe read the reviews, and build that relationship from day one, and really just stand out from the crowd.
Right.
In a competitive market. So
yeah, that's a great point you brought up too, because one of the exercises that I'll do with clients sometimes, if we're looking at messaging, is take the first couple paragraphs off of their website, take the first couple paragraphs off 3 or 4 competitors, put it into a sheet and give it to them and see if they or their team can identify who they are without any, removing anything that mentions their name.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how everything just looks about the same.
Right.
Talking more about us. We're not talking about who we serve. We're not talking about our clients.
Right. And when I meet with people, I don't even talk about us until really the end. It's all about listening to them, figuring out who they are. And, in my mind, and we actually call our meetings a strategy session where we, it's not just, all right, wham, bam, this is what you're looking at, pay me. Right. We go in and we dive deep and we tell them the good, the bad. We talk about the facts. We talk about the law. We kind of build that strategy out from day one, really just to set expectations and let them know that we're already crafting a plan. And then we talk about us, afterwards.
Of course. Right. Yeah. But people they're there because they're scared and they're in a situation. It is about them.
Right.
And anyone can come in and say, well, yeah, we've got X number of years of experience and, all of these stats and pieces of paper on the wall. But at the end of the day, if you understand them, they understand that you're going to work for them. So cool. What's one piece of advice that you wish you were given when you started your career?
So I graduated law school in 2006. I was a prosecutor for 18 months. And then I started my law firm. Mm-hmm. And I had a partner back then. And we didn't market. And we did, our marketing was networking and just, we had a few speaking engagements and stuff like that, but we didn't have any big internet presence. We didn't do anything on the internet. Right. I didn't do anything on that until about 2015 when him and I split up. So I wish that in 2008, I got in and we had a great website. We had a great web presence. We went in on pay-per-click and different directories and all the things that back in 2008 were easier to do.
Right.
And now there was a lot less competition then, even though in 2008 to us, it seemed like, oh, this internet has been around for a while. Yeah. It might be hard to break in then, but I didn't. Now. Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I just didn't know, there weren't a lot of resources. I thought for people starting a law firm and really getting into this. So my advice would be just market, the internet, right? Look at how our world has changed in the last 5-6 months.
Yeah.
It's only going to be more technology, right?
Right.
I've never signed up a client over Zoom before, and now I've signed up tons.
Yeah.
In the last 6 months.
Well, that's smart too, because there's some people that are just trying to fight it and saying, no, we're going to be back to normal. The problem is that normal, I think, is never going to quite be what it was, because a lot of people are saying, hey, we can do this. We can work like this. And so even for companies that aren't affected, in the same way where they have to have that face-to-face, they're realizing, why do we have an office? Why do we, my wife's company, she started in January with a new company. We were concerned when all this hit because does she have a job? Well, they did get rid of 2 people, kept her, got rid of the office. So now her office is upstairs. And they're not looking to go back to the office because there's not anything that she can't do here that she was already doing there. In fact, she's more productive now, unfortunately.
Right, absolutely. We've actually begun to take some cases outside of, north of Palm Beach County and on the west coast of Florida, just because of Zoom and everything that we have. We're able to do it.
Right.
And for me, I like to. I don't have enough time to read a lot of books, but I listen to a lot on Audible. And one thing that really kind of studying the 2008 crash and even before, there were big institutions like Sears and Toys R Us that we never thought would fail, and they refused to adapt and compete with Amazon until it was too late. And where are they now? They've literally been wiped from the planet.
Right.
So they don't exist anymore. And I'm always trying to think about those things and plan for the future, the future of law, the future of criminal defense, the future of just, that small law firm and how that's going to work. And, and think about that with our marketing too.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point that now you're able to stretch out into different areas because of the technology being able to get on Zoom. What are some challenges though that you see? Obviously you don't get that in-person relationship. You're still building a relationship and you're seeing people face to face, but not, are you feeling a difference with that in terms of how you get to know the client and how they get to know you, or you think it's about the same?
Not really. I mean, we've still had in-person meetings too for the, our conference room is big enough.
Right.
We all wear face masks and be safe and protected. But for the ones who didn't want to come in and want to do it over Zoom, no, because we're face to face. I think whether, if you're a genuine person and you're knowledgeable and you present well, you can still build that level of trust. For example, I've been, for the lawyer networking, I love these Zoom meetings now that I've been doing. Instead of driving 20 minutes to a lunch, there's 30 people in a room and I may know 2 people. And of course, introverted me, what do? I speak to the 2 people I already know, even though that's not the goal of going to the lunch, the networking lunch. And now when you do it over Zoom, it's easy and you can still build relationships. And I've met a bunch of attorneys that I never would have met before and built, referral relationships with them and got to know them from one-on-ones and from the group meetings. And it's all been done virtually.
Yeah.
So, if it's 95% of an in-person, given the circumstances and the easier it is to reach more people and the more convenient it is, right? Not having to drive 20 minutes somewhere there and back and all that, then I'm all for it.
That's great. Yeah, it makes up for it. So, and again, people are getting more accustomed to it. They understand that this is kind of the way things are. And I'll be really curious once things open back up safely, how many people decide, you know what? We don't necessarily have to go back to the way we were doing things before. Some will obviously, but I think some will say this works great or have a hybrid.
Of course, me and my firm, we were in a bit of a growth phase before this. So we moved into a brand new office space that's gorgeous and expensive.
Of course, right.
Of course, right. That happened January 1st, but it is what it is. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, at least it's not, I see some of these restaurants that just opened up. There's one right down the road from where we are. I'm thinking they spent months on a renovation. And then I don't know that they ever got to open the doors. It's just, you feel terrible, but for companies like that. So at least you're able to keep doing work. For me, it's affected some of my clients, but for me, it hasn't had an impact. I work out of the house, which is great.
Right, yeah. So
you're still able to help people. In terms of marketing, we'll wrap up here in a second, but in terms of marketing, what do you find to be some of the most effective strategies, I guess, or tactics for your company, for your firm?
Give value. So, everything that we do, whether it's social media, whether it's blog posts, our YouTube videos, website, just any of the marketing that we're doing, just give value. I'll scroll through Facebook and I'll see my friends who, are competitors, and they have the, sponsored ad of, we'll fight for you. Call me if you're arrested. Right. and nobody's looking at that. People are just swiping through it. It's not providing any value.
Right.
I always feel like, as the client, speak to me and tell me what my thoughts and fears are. Tell me what my objections are. Tell me, give me hope and tell me what the process is. I don't want to see you looking tough, with a bunch of law books behind you, because that's all about you. So right. we do that. And really just the reviews, we're so fortunate to have 400 5-star reviews between Google and Avvo and a few other platforms. Right. And in addition to just the written, and the written testimonials on our site, and the video testimonials on our site. So right. that really helps as well for people to see.
Reviews are essential, but you've got to be doing your job to get those reviews, which is, a good, so it's a good byproduct of that. And I noticed too,
we hustle hard for them.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, you have to have, I've got a friend of mine who owns an agency too, and he talks about to his clients that you've got to have a mentality for getting reputation. It has to be really built in. Should always be getting reviews, because it really can help scale. But, it can help get the clients, but it's hard to directly relate to that, but or tie back. But I see, like, you do videos where you're, one of the videos I saw you doing was a workshop in front of some young guys and talking about, how many beers do you need for a DUI, and just getting into the law, but you're giving back, and then you're putting that and repurposing that so that other
right.
people can have access to it.
So on that one, so I've done, ever since I really started the firm in 2008, the one thing that's good that I've done from, way back then was doing lectures and getting out in the community and meeting people and speaking and sharing our knowledge, giving, information. And so we had one at a local college's fraternity house. And so, I had my videographer. I'm like, you know what, come mic me up and let's just shoot it. And, it'll be an hour and a half video, and we'll cut it up into a bunch of FAQs and a bunch of different things. And we did. So, I'm a big believer in why only, if you're going to do one thing, mm-hmm. It's very easy. It doesn't take that much more time and effort to turn that one thing into 10 different marketing pieces and repurpose it. So,
right.
Yeah.
I think that's a challenge with people when they look at content. They think, wow, I've got to churn out all this content. Well, not necessarily. So you can take one thing and then you can clip it and then put it in several places, which is great.
And I've had clients specifically refer those videos because they've said, Adam, when you were there talking, you were dressed down and you were just talking to the young kids. And I'm like, okay, so that wasn't me in the suit in front of the green screen being professional. We have a lot of those videos too. And, so it just got me thinking, like, this was something I shot 3 years ago and it's still generating revenue for us.
That's great. Yeah. I think at the end of the day, we want to hire people that we can relate to. They have to be good at what they do. But if we feel like, I can break bread with you, that makes it a lot easier to work with somebody for sure. So, yeah. All right. So one last question, and that is, if someone's just getting started, they're in law school, they're coming out, what's one piece of advice you'd give them to get going?
If they want to start their own firm, don't listen to the establishment. In law, most lawyers that I know tend to be very conservative. Mm-hmm. The default is no, and they come from a mindset of scarcity. Right. And I don't believe in that. We have an abundance mindset in myself, my personal life, my family, and our firm. And so I think if you're starting out, seek out like-minded entrepreneurial lawyers who, as one of our other sayings is, get me to yes, who find a way to get to yes, who can, mentor you and maybe introduce you to this marketing group or this book about, marketing or this company or whatever, and learn, because we're not taught that in law school. Ever since I've really dived deep into the marketing the last 5 years, I feel like I have a master's in marketing, and I probably feel like I have an MBA equivalent as well.
Right.
We're never taught. And law school tries to be exclusive, where it, conservative and no. We're one of the last industries to change and adapt, and don't get sucked into that mindset. And if you have the right mindset, anything's possible, because all of this stuff, look, being a lawyer is not that hard. You just have to, learn, practice, get good at it. Learning how to market, right, or picking the right marketing company is not that hard. You just have to, figure it out and trust the right company, or figure it out yourself, or, do what you do. So I think it all begins, it begins and ends with mindset.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think with any part of your life, it begins with mindset. Yeah, that's good. Hey, I really appreciate your time. So what's the best way to get in touch with you if someone wants to learn more, if they're in a situation where they need to get out of trouble and they're looking for a great defense lawyer?
Yeah, so RossenLawFirm.com is our website. You can find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Rossen Law Firm, Rossen, so it's 2 S's. You can contact me. We're very active on that. My email is Adam@Rossen Law Firm. We're easy to find if you're looking for us.
Right on. And I'll make sure there's links everywhere where we have the video so people can get in touch with you. So
perfect. Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Thanks so much for your time.
No, my pleasure. Look, we love meeting people. We love helping people, giving information and just sharing, in kind of my journey and how the firm's grown, because this stuff works.
Right.
It does.
And it's an example of not having a lack mentality, because you're here sharing information and, freely, not worrying about competitors, which is great.
Oh yeah. I only worry about us and what we have to do.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, and the reality is most people don't actually take action on the things that they know that they should take action on. So as long as you're taking action, there's plenty of work out for all of us. So
of course.
Good stuff. All right, Adam, I really appreciate it. Be safe.
All right. Thanks, you too.